Welcome to Social Media Basics for Business, Lesson 2, Identify Your Brand Voice. I'm Robert Killen, Director of the Lane Small Business Development Center, and it's great to see you here. So in this lesson, we're going to focus on 4 critical questions. What is brand voice? Why is it important? What voice should you use? And how do you implement it? So let's go ahead and jump in. I want to start with just a basic reminder that being present online is not enough. Let me say that again. Being present online is not enough. It's your voice, your personality, your character that will ultimately generate success. We're going to talk about how that happens. So, first critical question. What is brand voice? Well, your brand voice is the personality or character that you communicate through your online engagements. And by engagement, I mean the whole package. The content, how it's written, your color scheme, your font choices, the imagery you choose to use, all of that communicates personality. It communicates character. That's brand voice. And I want to share 3 excellent examples of brand voice. Here's Nike's Instagram page. When you come here, it's very clear what they're about. They're not overly colorful. In fact, most of the imagery is black and white with a little accent color thrown in. And even the faces, when you go down and you actually look at the faces of those who are looking back at you, most of them aren't smiling. They're not laughing. They're not joyous. They are focused. They're committed on on their goals, right? And this isn't accidental. This is Nike being very intentional about what they're trying to communicate, so that when you come here, you know that they are all about the just do it attitude. It's about being serious about sports and being committed to it. You can't not see that when you come here. Here's another example, also sports related, sports drink related, Red Bull. Obviously, their page is very different, but their page is equally powerful. Their images, they're not overblown color. They're not stylized like Nike's were. These are just nature images. They are colored, but natural. But more importantly, most of the images are of somebody in extreme action, right? People flipping their bikes, people literally on the edge. So that when you come here and you see Red Bull's logo, you know exactly what they're about. They are about being extreme in athletics, right? That's what they're about. And here's another example, Lego. Lego is obviously warm, inviting, fun, and their colors and themes display that. Their logo displays that. These buttons display that. Even their little tagline here, hello, you made it to the official Lego Instagram where everything is awesome. I mean, you can't come here and take a look at this. Music and joy and toys and even the education is fun. You can't look at this without recognizing that this is a fun brand. That is their voice, right? All 3 of these are great examples. And although I wouldn't expect you to embrace any of these voices as your own, because you're going to want your own authentic voice, these are great examples of how a brand utilizes their content and profiles to ensure that people understand what that voice is, that they can read it. That makes sense? Excellent. So let's get back to the presentation. We talked about what brand voice is. Now let's talk about why it's important. Brand voice is important because social media is an inherently social space. By definition, it is a social space. It is a space where people come to build relationships. And while it's often with other people, it can also be with brands. It can be with anything that has character, that has human personality. So that's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to create a human personality for your brand because social media is where connections are made, where relationships are made. And if you think you can come without doing that, you're mistaken. If you walk around your house, you got a microwave, vacuum cleaner, an end table. These are furniture and appliances. They don't have personality. We don't engage with them in that way. If you come to the social media space and you don't build a personality, you'll feel like an appliance. You'll feel like furniture. Okay? You don't want to do that. You want to feel like a character. You want to engage like a character. That's why it's important. Because if you don't do it, you're going to get looked over all the time. So, next question. Should the voice be your own or something specific to your company? Okay? That's a great question. Should the voice be yours or something different? And this depends. The answer could be either. If you are a solopreneur, if you're a very small business, it is likely that the business reflects your personality. And if that's the case, that's great. Then consider your personality, your brand personality. But sometimes that's not the case. And I had a friend back in the day who was a retired accountant, and he bought a very vibrant coffee shop. It wouldn't make any sense for him to build out an online presence that felt like an accounting office when he's trying to create a vibrancy that is reflected in the coffee shop, right? So sometimes they need to be different. Very often they're going to be the same, especially for solopreneurs and brand new businesses just starting up. So the answer to that question is it depends. It depends on you. But whatever you choose, be authentious. I know that's not a word. I made it up years ago. Be audaciously authentic. Once you've identified what your online brand is, what your personality is, what that brand voice is supposed to be, dive into it, full tilt. Make certain that nobody has to ask the question, what are you all about? All right? Finally, fourth question, how do you establish your brand voice? Well, this is fairly simple, and the workbook for this section is very clear. Choose a handful of adjectives that identify your brand voice. So for Nike, it would be, serious, competitive, determined, those types of words. For Red Bull, it's going to be excited, on the edge, pushing the edge, athletic. For Lego, it's going to be fun, approachable, joyful, educational. Those are the adjectives that they would choose. What are your adjectives? So give that some thought. What are the adjectives that identify your brand? Give that quite a bit of thought so that when you write it down, it fits perfectly. Then you want to look at your design elements, your color scheme, your font, the imagery you want to pull in. Look at all of that, and any themes that you want to incorporate. Like as Red Bull, their theme was obviously action shots. That was their photo theme. With Nike, it was sort of serious, determined faces. So choose themes. You don't have to do all of this, but I want you to give thought to all of this, and in your workbook, you're going to be writing them down. So in summary, in order to generate success in the social media space, you have to communicate a brand voice. You have to communicate personality, character. You have to. Otherwise, you're likely to be passed over as just furniture in the space. All right, so determine your brand voice and celebrate it in every post. Okay, that's it for the video of lesson 2. Your next steps right now to open up your workbook and fill out section 2, where you will answer these questions that I just asked you. And then we'll move over to lesson 3, define your customer, where we will answer the question, who is your perfect client? I'll see you there. Cheers.